this is Sean again. I'm back with another episode of All Things Black. I have a new friend here.
Hey, Brianna. You can follow me on Instagram at Rose_Lotusbaum. Nice to see
Okay.
everybody.
All right. Thank you for coming, Brianna. So today, me and Brianna are going to talk about colorism. So our first question is, what does the word colorism mean to you?
All right. Well, colorism, you get that from your own people. Like, they based everything off of past history. Back in the day when slavery was happening and everybody didn't like dark people, when the slave masters who are white, they want to rape and take our people, they started creating these light-skinned kids. Then we having the light skins in the house doing not as not as much as hard work as the people as outside. So you had that going on for years and years and years. So now moving forward, we just have that same mindset. Like, oh, light skinned people are the favorite. They are everything. We want to be like them. They have soft skin. They don't work as hard. They want to be pretty people. I get all types of backlash just because I'm light skinned. I'm like, none of that is true. So, to some people, sure, but colorism that's been happening or just based off of our own people talking about us, just because we're a little bit lighter.
What about the other way around?
Oh man. So we also have that.
And not even just like from light skinned people. I just mean, sorry, not to interrupt you. I just mean like the preference from white people, because there's white colorism, because white people prefer light skinned black people, and then just the preference in general of, like, I understand what you're saying about, people do, judge light skinned people as being uppity or a certain way, but as far as like with colorism, like, and even from the black community, there's a preference for lighter skinned black people. But does that mean all light skinned people act a certain way? No, but okay, yeah, that was my chicken. Yeah.
No, you're good. I needed that for white people. Man, I had so many people come up to me like, wow, I finally have like a black light skinned friend. I can they have the assumption that they can speak to me any kind of way because I'm a little bit closer to what they prefer. I'm closer to their complexion because I am a light skin, but I still have that. I'm still black regardless. I'm just
Right.
a little bit closer to their complexion, and they think, oh, I can still, I can now speak to you in a certain type of manner, like, those slide comments
Right.
that they have. They can
Well,
speak to me about that. I'm like, all right, ask me questions about our community. I'm like, no, you still don't have that right to do that. So yes, white people still have those want to have that connection to light skinned people. They think that's like their bridge to come over, but it's not. For the dark skinned community, it irritates me a lot because, like, one of my coworkers, he prefers white women or light skinned women over dark skinned women. I'm like, why? Because of the same um, assumptions about, oh, they're so angry they can't do this, they can't do this, and I just prefer white women or light skin or white light skinned women because of that. Like, these assumptions and these biases, it really irritate me because it doesn't make sense. Where is this coming from? And it just stems from like the olden days where you have backlash and whatnot. Does that make sense? I feel.
no, it does make sense.
Mm,
Okay, I got you. It does. It stems a lot from just what black people were taught, back then. Yeah, I agree. Okay, and I'm not, I don't want to dismiss that people do stereotype light-skinned people.
Yeah.
Or that some people may treat light-skinned people badly. But I was just addressing that, colorism, the system of colorism prefers lighter-skinned people. Like the how it works. And I think because of that preference, light-skinned people can be mistreated. Because of that closeness to whiteness, the privilege that lighter skinned people receive in the world. Some may say like, oh, I don't feel that, but like they can be mistreated. But I just was trying to reinforce that I think that the mistreatment comes from being the preferred color in the world, and that's from a lot of minority communities. The Latinx community has a problem with light skin preference. The Asian community has a problem with light skin preference. The Asian community has a really bad problem. So yeah, okay. So our next question is, what do you believe are some examples of colorism?
Let's see.
And please say what's on your mind.
Okay, yeah. Well,
There's no specific direction. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Here's one. It comes up often how people want more light skinned babies. They always want light skinned babies. They always look at pictures of them, posting them, and I'm like, oh, this baby is so cute because it's light skinned. And then we see compare it to like a dark skinned baby. They don't want. It's not preferred. Nobody really likes that. They come from almost all races too, and that's bad on everybody's part. Like, if you are light skinned, like yeah, that's it's reasonable because most likely you'll come out with a light skinned child.
Right.
But for everybody else, it really irritates me because why always light skinned kids? They're all kids are really beautiful. No, not when they first come out because they look like aliens. But later, when they develop, they all turn out pretty cute. But that's always a common thing. It's been a common thing over generations that they want a light skinned baby. They want the ethnic background, but they want the privilege of having that lighter skin tone that comes with it. Because light skinned people do have some type of privilege because they're kind of close to the white skin, but we will always be outcasts regardless because we don't really fit in with the white people. We don't really fit in. Like most times, black people don't want to include us because we are lighter skinned. I'm like, yeah, you're not black enough for us. Because I had that multiple times throughout my life.
Yeah.
And, yeah, and you can see that with the baby test. Even children, they have like they see a white baby and they see a black baby. I'm like, okay, which baby you want to play with? They go to the white baby because in their minds they always hear good things about white people and not their own kind. So you can see that on multiple occasions throughout multiple races. And that's just my take on the examples I see with younger people and older people.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, we have a really the light skinned baby thing is a very bad fetish, I think, in the Black community. It's a little weird.
A little bit.
It's a little weird. I'm not gonna lie, because I mean we're talking about babies. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, it's a little bizarre to because I've seen a lot of men say they want a light baby, and to me, that's just it's just weird. And I mean, it's rooted in, I don't want to say weird because that sounds simplistic, but I mean, it is rooted in like white supremacy and, white supremacy, ideology that's been passed down and given to a lot of us. So, it's still sad though, because a lot of them mate based on how they want their baby to look like. Um, and then, a lot of people don't have a good understanding of genetics, because what if the baby doesn't come out, you know, like the, light skinned baby that you wanted, and there's maybe a brown skinned baby, or the baby looks more like, if it's a dark skinned baby, it's a dark skinned baby. Are
Mm-hmm.
you not as happy because you specifically chose a light skinned mate so you can have a light baby? So,
Exactly. And you know what? The and that's also bad because minorities in group homes and foster care, because you can see colorism in there as well. You have majority of people that is in foster care are black females. So
mm-hmm.
and then compare that to whiter or white or lighter complexion of people, they usually and also younger people when they like babies, so they prefer that crowd over the or black females and black men that is in foster care and foster homes. They rather deal with that than have the hardship, I guess, of raising a strong or black woman or black man.
Yeah. And black women in general are usually the main, well, dark skinned black women are usually the main people who are hurt by colorism. There's this article I read by Dr. Matthew Harrison. He talks about how dark skinned black women, it's like a triple thing. They have the issue of being a woman, which we, all as women face, the issue of being black, which we all of black women face, and then there's the issue of being dark skinned, which is an issue for many people. So that's, three things. So that goes to your point about the females being and I mean, the females being more likely to be or less likely to be adopted. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a good point. And so, with you talking about feeling like you weren't accepted, do you feel like that was with women, men? What's your perspective on that? Because I mean, I have heard that, but for me, or from what I thought that that's who people wanted to hang out with. So,
Yeah.
but however, I've heard, from you and also from other people that, felt you felt like, yeah, that.
So from the years I grew up, huh, I never noticed like people wanted to be around me for some reason, or people who didn't want to be around me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had like now that I'm in I, the school I go to is predominantly white. So I noticed that when I wanted to join one of the sororities at the time, they said because I had my hair pressed out this like during this time, but anyway, so I went to try to join, and they said, "Oh, you're not black enough." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I can't be a part of the sisterhood." No, you can't. And they basically kind of scooped me aside, not knowing just because I was light skinned doesn't mean I couldn't be a part of the sisterhood. So that was irritating. Even through grade school, I I couldn't I didn't feel like I fit in with any of the crowds, and it wasn't just personality wise because I'm a pretty great person, but when I just didn't feel comfortable around white people, but I felt comfortable around black people, but they didn't really feel comfortable around me. Just because I felt mainly because it was just my complexion. Like it's not something I can change. It's I could change it, like standing outside, but majorly this is just gonna stay here. It's been going through my family for generations. It's nothing I can really change about that. But I do believe that my lighter skin has like not really have me accepted in many of the communities that I wanted to be a part of, and I felt comfortable being in, but they didn't really feel comfortable with me being around them. That's something that they have to work on, but it's it's just gonna be how it is right now. And yeah, that hurt my feelings throughout the years, but there's nothing much I can change about my complexion. I can be the best person ever, but yet people will judge me because on their stereotypes and how they've been raised about light skin or white people, and like, no, I can't be friends with you. I had a few times um, from white people and black people. Like, why are you hanging out with this white girl? Like, I'm not white, but thanks anyway. So I've had it from both sides. So I didn't really fit in until much, very recently. I didn't feel like I was included with any of the groups.
I hear you mentioning black and white. Are you mixed?
Oh, yes, I am.
Okay, with black and white?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Like my mom was mixed, well, is mixed, and my dad, he's mainly black. So
Okay.
I get like my complexion from my mom, and it's that we don't know where this complexion came from because her mom is dark and her dad was mixed, and so it's just this light skin just kept passing down, no matter who they ended up with.
Um, that doesn't sound good, to not be accepted. And I mean, I do see what you're saying. Um, to feel like you don't really know your place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, hmm. I'm wondering. I'm feeling like possibly with the black people, it could be, maybe a distrust of white people,
Mm-hmm.
and although you aren't white, um, it could be a distrust of white people.
Yeah,
Um,
I thought about that.
and also I don't know, so like with like it could be some like generational trauma type of things, because I know like back in the day, like when they had like blue vein societies and like paper bag tests, stuff like after slavery ended,
Mm-hmm.
when mixed people were called mulattoes, mulattoes did not like to be associated with dark skinned black people.
Mm-hmm.
um for instance, they even made a separate church because they wanted to be separate from the dark skinned black people church. So there was a mulatto church started, and there was, they had combs hanging up, and if your hair, couldn't go through the comb, then you couldn't get into that church. Um, there was people who, if you were a lighter skinned family, you couldn't bring your darker skinned families, you couldn't bring a darker skinned person home with you. So now this is not any dark skinned people's fault now or any light skinned people's fault now. I mean, really it's a result of white supremacy. But I'm saying it could have, a lot of that might have passed down from, generation to generation to generation to generation, thoughts about certain types of people behaving a certain way. So that might have caused people to treat you unfairly or um, put you in a certain category because of historic ideas of mixed people, maybe. But I appreciate you sharing that. I mean, yeah, I've heard from a mixed girl as well about not feeling like, there's really a place in either community. Yeah. Okay. So our next question is, why do you believe people have negative attitudes about light skin, and why do you believe people have negative attitudes about dark skin?
Oh, all of this from both sides is from stereotypes.
Yeah.
So many freaking stereotypes of both sides of both sides. All right. So, like we were talking about earlier, like back in the day, how they were talking about light skinned people don't work as hard, or yep, they have soft hands. I get that a lot, and I don't understand that. I guess because we're not doing as much labor. I think that's what they were talking about.
Mm.
But I get so much crap about being light skinned. Like I go through, like we go through the same or similar shit all the time. Sorry for my language, but um, like what was the issue here? And it's always stemming from how we are, how we were raised about when we were raised from generations and generations of from the olden days. But I haven't really heard any positive affirmations for light skinned people. I always heard positive about dark skinned people. Like, well, I don't get that. I get, I've heard from like dark, like, bad things about dark skinned people. Well, been hearing a lot of like affirmations and good things about dark skin, like from and not from light skinned people. But does at the end of the day, would it really matter?
You don't hear positive affirmations about light skinned people? Do you, do you talk to men at all?
I know that was I know that would sound so weird. It's just in my head it's like, huh. Mate,
I mean,
I
I see
hear
what you're saying. There is a lot more reinforcement for dark skinned people now, but you really don't think you hear any positive affirmations for light skinned people?
it was like you're so like I get like you're pretty or something like just oh you're just pretty. Like, oh, I love your eyes, or like, okay, and like your skin complexion is looks nice, and I don't get that one. Like, it's I don't know. It's just the way I was raised. Like, it's skin. What's pretty about it? Like, I don't know. Maybe I just been on a lot of throughout the years self hate because I always wanted something more from me. Like, I wanted to be like when I was younger. I'm like, oh, I can't wait for summer to come and I can get darker for once, and so people can stop asking me questions like, "Are you white? Like, why you have this type of hair? Like, can I play in your hair?" Oh no, but it's probably I'm not really saying it because I always hated myself when I was growing up, and so no, not really hate. Let's not. That's like a very strong word. Um, I didn't really like how I looked. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. I didn't really like how I looked. I wanted to look like my grandma's. She's dark, a little bit darker, and seemed like she really loves how she is. And I thought, like, hey, if I get darker, then I can love myself too. Uh, that was young me being naive or not really catching myself from stopping. those words that came out my mouth. So, I don't know if I answered your question.
You answered my question. Yeah. Um. Okay. I understand that. Um. There is a lot more, positive reinforcement for dark skinned people now, but I think that's just because there hasn't been,
Mm-hmm.
like songs always shouted out light skinned girls. A lot of people were picked on in school for being, dark skin or brown skin. Um, so I think a lot of that now is to try to, you know, fix that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like, how there may be a page on Instagram that's dark skin girl or dark skin love or something like that. It would be kind of like, well, there is a light skin love page, but if someone wants to put a light skin love up page, it's like, because, and that, and that because you know I guess it's society loves light skinned people,
Mm-hmm.
so that may be why there are no positive reinforcements for it. Do you think that would be something that would be helpful?
Uh, that's a hard question, actually. It would be helpful just for me, because like, when I was growing up, I had kind of the opposite. We always uplifted our dark skinned people,
Mm.
and so that was always celebrated in my school. And if they got picked on, it wasn't because they were dark skinned or that they were darker. It was more so the lighter skinned people who were getting picked on. Like, it was flipped around for almost all my experiences. We celebrated them. There was always positivity and affirmations for them, and but for when I was just growing up, I didn't really see a whole bunch of that, and also my mom, she didn't really like her the way that she looked either. So I believe I also got that from her, because
Is she
but
mixed?
yes.
Okay.
So we look the same. So um, and then when in my school, when I was in high school, I didn't have a whole bunch of people who looked like actually like me, like that was light skinned. I always had darker people, and so when they were celebrated, I kind of was feeling left out. So I didn't really have a whole bunch of people that actually was light skinned or who knew like I was disliked by both sides, and almost I was rarely celebrated. I was always celebrated for my accomplishments, sure, but not um celebrated. That's not a good word. It's wasn't
I know what you mean. It's okay.
like, yeah, wasn't, I guess, praise or up, uplifting, other than, wow, you have some nice eyes. That's about it. I'm like, okay, sure, but other than that, I didn't really get much of any of that when I was growing up. But we have
Hmm.
different experiences. Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Hmm. So what kind of school did you go to?
Oh, so it doesn't exist anymore, but it was a charter school.
And it was mostly white people, you said?
No, I had there wasn't much of white people, but there was more
Okay.
dark black people in that school.
Okay.
Mm,
Okay. So there was a lot of dark skinned black people
yeah. Mm,
and not a lot of light skinned black people?
exactly.
Okay. Excuse me.
Mm. If it was like it was mainly me and what, maybe five others that was at a higher grade than I was, but I didn't really see a whole. No, there was like a handful of white people and a handful of light people, but they were much older than I was. So I didn't associate with them. So all I saw was dark skinned people, and then a handful of white people.
Mm. Okay, so y'all were a minority, the light skinned black people.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
different,
Okay.
right?
Okay. All right. So our next question is, what role do you believe traditional media plays in perpetuating colorist stereotypes?
Ooh, that was wordy.
I can answer it in my point of view, and then you can answer it if you want.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So in my point of view, the way traditional media perpetuates color stereotypes would be that, for example, I saw this one article that said that dark-skinned Black women were the least likely to be used in beauty ads. So I would say dark-skinned Black women not being used for beauty ads. As far as in movies, there's always the light-skinned wife, the dark-skinned husband. Um, that's something that I always see. The dark skinned best friend is always getting like picked on. You could look at like Pam and Gina, and Martin. There's a show on now called Marlon. That's the exact setup in that movie as well. Um, Dark skinned Black women are given traditionally more stereotypically ratchet roles. Now you have more people like Lupita, but more stereotypical roles. Um, yeah, again, it's always the light skinned wife, the dark skinned husband, and then usually with the kids is a dark skinned son and a light skinned daughter. So there's a lot in our media. There's a lot of women should be light skinned roots. So with music videos, there's a praise of foreign, mixed, and lighter skinned women. You rarely see, more now, but still very rarely see darker skinned Black women in in those videos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how I think it plays out.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because we saw that on, um, what, My Wife and Kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because the original daughter, she was dark, and she knew how to dance, and she was funny, and they replaced her with, yeah, with a somewhat older teenage. We barely see our women and men in actual good roles until recently, till
Mm-hmm.
much recently. We actually have our own lineup of like superheroes, villains, uh, inspiration, inspirational people,
Right.
and people that we can actually look up to, and not as drug dealers, uh, and these other stereotypes that we had seen throughout the years. But we got praise for them because we're good actors, and I wish that we had like more of us in the media that is uplifting to our community. Like I'm
Yeah.
tired of seeing a whole bunch of mess. Like, like it's good drama, sure, but can we have like some doctors, some lawyers?
Yeah.
Because when we see that as children, we like, oh mom, I want to be like them. I want to be like them when I grow up.
Yeah.
And
Positive. Yeah.
exactly, you had that positive reinforcement, or yeah, reinforcement
Yeah.
when you started growing up. Yeah, that's my role model right there. I
Mm-hmm.
can do that too. I can be that as well. So when we don't have that, it's bringing our community down. Honestly,
Right.
we need some role models. We need people to step up, even though it's just seen on TV type of thing. It's still something really important that we need to express.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have so many movies about slavery, but we don't have anything about before slavery because we
That's
there's a
true.
rich history out there that we're not tapping into, and that has been whitewashed over time. And I would love to see uh, us doing more of that. Like if we're gonna go to the past, let's go. into the past, the actual past, what have we should have been taught years and years ago. So that's just me.
No, I agree. Okay. What role do you believe colorism or color discrimination plays in dating and marriage?
Oh, I'm so tired of that one because it's oh, I don't understand how people like my coworker that was talking about who prefers light skin or whiter um complexion of people. And like I always ask him like, why do you do this? And he always comes up with these stereotypes of black women. And I'm like, I don't get that. What is the issue um that keeps coming up? Because those are just stereotypes. You may have maybe one or two people that have been angry and that happens to be dark.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just gonna label that for the rest of your life. But regardless, it's been tons of labels. And with colorism and dating and marriage, you get more backlash if it's a dark skinned woman and a light skinned man, or like a white man.
Yeah.
You see that with Serena Williams and a few other stars. But flipped with a dark skinned man and a light skinned woman or a white woman, you don't get as much as backlash. You don't
I
hear
agree.
that much from that unless there becomes a problem later in the marriage or in the dating. Then there's more like, well, you shouldn't have dated a white woman. You shouldn't have dated a light skinned woman. That was your own fault. But you get more backlash as a dark skinned woman than a dark skinned man. And honestly, at the end of the day, it's who you actually like, who you actually love, who you care about. You shouldn't be basing your relationship on color or the ethnic background. Then I also understand dating within your own race because you continuing they like you understand each other's problems or situation or history. It makes sense to do that, but it's just both sides of a coin, I
Yeah.
guess.
Okay. What do you believe is the difference between colorism and preference? Is there one?
There is like
Okay. What's the difference?
so um it's gonna be a little hard to explain too. That's why I wrote down my questions and my answers. But so if you are just basing your the next person you're going in a relationship with on how they look, so like I need me uh, a white woman, a light skinned woman, or a dark skinned woman. You're just basing the fact of their color and not who they are. Like, what's your preference? Like, oh, I want a woman that can cook. I want if she can stand up on her own feet, can she speak up when she needs to? That's that's a preference. Like, I
To me,
need.
I agree. That's what I think preference is too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, if you can pick out what you actually can relate to, like, uh, I can't deal with a smoker. I can't deal with domestic violence. And that works in only into
Right.
but there is, oh, I'm not going to be with her because she doesn't have the look. She doesn't have the right color, the right background for me. No, that's the main difference between the two. If you have that, you're you're using your what is that? What's the word? Biasing, colorism. Is that
Yeah,
what? Yeah,
I
color.
agree. I think that's the difference too, as well. I completely agree with 100% what you just said. So I don't even have to add into that. Yeah. How do you believe gender intersects with colorism? I can answer it first if you want me to, because sometimes when I ask that, people are like,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So how I believe gender intersects with colorism is that the dark skinned man and the dark skinned woman are both discriminated against in society, like with jobs, the prison system, etc. But as far as with dating and marriage, the dark skinned man is preferred in dating, but the dark skinned woman is not preferred in dating. Um, the light skinned woman is preferred in her traits, such as like being the ultimate, you know, example of femininity. Those traits are pushed on to light skinned men, and light skinned men are stereotyped as being feminine and weak. Dark skinned men, like through my study, I saw a lot of women say they prefer dark skinned men because they'll shoot for them and they'll fight for them and blah, blah, blah. And those same traits of masculinity are pushed off into dark skinned women as well. Aggressiveness, she gonna cuss me out, she might stab me. Um, so yeah, so I would say the intersection is that if you'll talk about specifically in dating, the dark skinned woman is mistreated the most. The light skinned man is mistreated as well, and stereotyped as feminine. And the light skinned woman and the dark skinned man are the preferred. That's the preferred setup of of dating. I mean, that's what we see in movies. A lot of women that were interviewed, the ones who were light skinned, like an overwhelming majority of them stated that they preferred dark skinned men. And of the darker skinned men, an overwhelming majority of them stated that they preferred lighter skinned women. So that's the intersection, I think.
I get that because my my second brother, he's light skinned and he basically fought his way out of the idea of femininity. Like,
Yeah.
there's everything that you said, he went completely the opposite. I'm just like, no, I will become more masculine. Now I have to get more muscles. I need to be strong. And he pushed all of that stuff aside so he can be what everybody else wants in life. And yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And I still want a dark skinned man just because that's all that I actually dealt with throughout life. I haven't dealt with any other type of male. And I think the way people have been describing dark skinned women like that is because of stereotypes and things we've seen on TV. And that's all they can relate to. They always think, oh, dark skinned women are always angry and we can't have that. We want somebody who's quiet and timid. And you mainly get that from lighter skin or white women because it's not prone for them, as much as I've seen to speak up and speak their mind because they always think, oh, I need to be that idea of feminine and just I need to take a step back. I need to be quiet. I need to control my emotions and da 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 da. And people they don't really speak up, I guess, and be out there as much as you would think as a dark skinned woman. But if you do that as a dark skinned woman, they always think that you're angry all the time and that you're gonna go off at any moment and you're just a hostile woman, even though you're just being normal, you're just speaking.
Yeah,
And that's
I
all.
agree.
Yeah, I've been seeing that throughout years, and I understand both sides. And the way that people have been dating over the years, how they just been they claiming they prefer this type of person just based on their skin tone. Like, oh, I know what type of person you are because you're a light skinned woman. You're not going to stand up for yourself. You're not going to um, be angry or go off of me. And, or like, oh, yeah, I know what type of person you are. Da 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 da. You know, I think uh, that is really ignorant of people to just keep continuing the cycle, and that's hurting our community.
Mhm.
That is putting those ideals out there for for it to continue on for the next generation for them to deal with, and I believe that it should be stopped.
Okay.
Yeah, I just prefer dark skinned people because that's all I've seen and that's who I'm comfortable with.
Mm.
So I'm not sure about the.
Okay. Alright. So our next question is, do you think that you have ever been this we kind of talked about this already, but if you want to add anything, do you think that you have ever been discriminated against because of your or mistreated because of your skin tone?
Yes, multiple times. Um, we talked about it briefly. At my college, that's where I was told like I'm not dark enough to, or I'm not black enough was the actual term to join their group, and that was the biggest thing that hurt me. I didn't join anything that year.
Wait, I'm sorry, let me ask one question. Was
Yeah.
this I don't even know the name, but was this more one of the like bigger sororities?
No, it was like a small thing. One of the smaller sororities that was on campus,
Okay,
and
that's gonna say that was interesting because back in the day, sororities you had to be lighter to be in sororities, so that's funny. But go ahead.
I think it's just my state. Just being,
Huh?
I said I kind of think it's my state. Maybe it's just the area that I've been in that I kept getting a the flipped version of everything.
No,
How
I
people
I
didn't
don't
like.
think it's the flip version. I think it's like one at the school you went to, you're like a minority there, and then here. So I mean, no, it's just a difference in experience. It's not like one set experience, and if your experience isn't that way, then it's different or it's not true. It's just a different experience. So no, I don't think it's flipped or anything. I'm just wondering. But go ahead.
But yeah, I had that experience and few times during middle school and high school. So yeah, I talked briefly about those as well. That I was basically the minority in the school. I didn't really have a whole bunch of light skinned friends, or shoot, I didn't even really like the white people that was there either. So we didn't really associate with each other. So all I hung out with the dark skinned people, and then I had what summer some time a couple of times in middle school, but then I stopped that of bullying because of my complexion, and but I was a fighter through school, so I stood up for myself for that. But I did have multiple times where I was discriminated against just because I was just lighter, and they just made assumptions about me because of my light skin, and I was a small child. I'm still kind of small as in stature, so they thought they could take me. They could not. But I had those experiences. I haven't had any recent experiences since I started becoming like really understanding myself and being just liking me for once. I started wearing my hair out because when I was growing up, they always said to me, "You need to fix your hair. Your hair needs to be straight." So all the things we celebrate what Caucasians for, like having straight hair, because that looks more presentable and to to go out in. I didn't really like my how my hair looked, but now I'm actually enjoying myself and liking my culture. And so when wearing it out, I've been more confident in my how I look. So I believe people took that as oh, we're not gonna mess with her, or I haven't had anything in like I had in high school and middle school now, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that when you date men, they say stuff to you about your color?
Yeah,
And you said you dated dark skinned black men, so I was interested in that.
yeah, and I find it really weird because I'm just the type of person that I'm a, I go to people. I like the inside of a person, the personality. I go for that before I go for their complexion. But the men that has actually want, wanted a relationship with me just happened to be black. And a couple of times they always go for like, oh yeah, you have really nice eyes. I always get that compliment. Like, okay, thank you. And later on, if we start progressing, they will always highlight the fact um, that I'm a little bit like my light skin. Like, oh, what's your background? I'm like, oh, well, I'm mixed. Yeah, thought you can tell. That like, oh wow, uh, the weirdest one is like he was like, yeah, we're gonna make some pretty babies. I'm like, excuse me. That's that's a weird thing to just come up with. And oh, I have dated one light skinned man. Like he was German and black, but he was really liking the fact that we'll have about our light complexion and push for that more so than anything. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna have some pretty light skinned babies, and um, since he had like a stepdad or whatever, he's like, yeah, we're gonna make him mad. I'm like, that's weird. I don't know.
That's very
I don't
weird.
know how else to describe it, but it's just a weird fetish that people are having, just like having light skinned kids or having a light skinned girlfriend. I'm like, yeah, I get best of both worlds. I don't get that. I don't get that uh understanding of light skin. Like people want light skinned people like as a relationship, as uh, children, and I don't really understand the concept of it. What's really nice about being light skinned? You're not getting any money from it. You're not getting anything from it other than you know protection from UV rays. But
You're kind of getting something from being light skinned.
like what?
Um, you get acceptance by mainstream society. You are, if you go into a job interview, you're more likely to get the job. If you're going towards with a dark skinned person, you're actually more likely to be in a higher socioeconomic status than a dark skinned person. Um, in some cases, like in North Carolina, dark skinned women were found to get longer sentences than light skinned women. Um, so they're like in the judicial system, if you have more Afrocentric features to include dark skin, you're more likely to get a longer sentence. You can look at what was Jail Bay. He's now a model and like rich. That's probably something that would not have ever happened to a dark skinned black person. Um, I've, like specifically, one study found that a light skinned man with a bachelor's degree compared to a dark skinned man with the MBA and managerial experience is more likely to get the job than the dark skinned black man. Um, so yeah, there are a lot of benefits to being to being light skinned.
Mm, I just haven't experienced it yet.
And you even talk. There's a preference for men.
Yeah, but the wrong type of men.
It's still a preference, though, right?
You right. You right.
So, but I do see what you're saying. You may not necessarily feel the benefits yourself, but there is a societal benefit to being light skinned. Even one study found that like more men with more affluent men um, were more likely to marry lighter skinned black women than darker skinned black women. So there are just a range of benefits to being light skinned. Yes, it's wrong to prefer a light skinned baby, but there's a lot of benefits. So I mean,
So would you think that um the the wave of people wanting like more of a light skinned family
it's because of that.
is because of the benefits? Like,
No,
wait, really help my family out for the future or something?
heavens, no, 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 no. It's because of a fetish towards light skinned women. It's because how they like how light skinned babies look. But you know what? I don't want to say no. Part of it could be, I was mistreated as a dark skinned person. I don't want this to happen to my child. So I'm not gonna discount that. It could be that, but me personally, I think it's liking how light skinned people look. It's white supremacist ideology just in us. So I really don't think it's because of. I think it could have something to do with that. No, you're right. It could maybe have something to do with them wanting their families to have an easier time, but that's not the way most of them put it. A lot of them say they don't want no black baby. They want white
Yeah,
baby.
I heard that before.
It could be. Do you find that men? Okay, so I'm gonna ask you this, then I'm gonna ask you this last two questions, and then we can wrap it up. Cause
Okay.
it's easy. All right. So, um, do you find that men, because I've heard from another girl that I've spoke with, she's mixed as well, and she said that even though she is mixed, men will talk to her about black women. Have you found that to be true?
Yeah. I hate talking about people. I don't even know them. They just
Mm-hmm.
the they just dog black women for no apparent reason. Like they are beneath you or something, and that's not true. They're like and I hate it when it's coming from what's even worse coming from a black man talking about their like a black woman. Like yeah, I don't like the way the because they're oh this the most stuff you get from them like the stereotypes is the anger and how how they look and well, mainly those two just mainly the anger that comes from it but what I see is the mainly it's coming from passion because they get irritated about always keeping things inside because if you can't really come off as angry or as passionate because they bring it up as anger. Like, why are you so mad all the time? You can't do anything. Uh, really, can't go anywhere. Can't say how you really feel because then people come back at you like, oh, you're just a you're a typical black woman, and it's it's really irritating. Like, where are you guys even getting this from? And it just comes from stereotypes that we accumulate over time. But yes, I have had many people come, well, many black men come to me and talking about black women, and it's just mainly about that.
Have you had many men come to you and talk about dark skinned black women?
Yeah. No. Oh, you were not talking about that.
Not
Hello.
you, them.
Wait, say that again. I'm gonna.
Have you had many men talk to you about dark skinned black women?
No. Yeah. Um.
Okay, because you said black women the first time, so I didn't know if you meant
Yeah.
like if you meant dark skinned black women or
Oh yeah, dark skinned black women. Yeah. I
mm,
meant. should have put that in there, but yes,
No, it's okay.
that's what I was referring to, and it's really irritating me, and it comes from like the people who like three people that in my life who always comes to me about that when they just want to vent per se about their experiences with a black woman. They always want to come to me for some reason, mainly because maybe I'm readily available at that time, or maybe because um, I'm a good, maybe a good friend to them, and I'm just honest, or I don't know, whatever their reason is. But that's always been something they want to vent to me about, and something I haven't ever really felt comfortable talking about because that that's that's family. That's basically family, like that you're talking about, and you're just disrespecting them in this kind of manner, and I just it's not for me. And even if I don't really know them, I just know of them and their background. Yeah, I just don't feel comfortable talking about family like that. I may not really know them, but just you don't really know them like that. Their background and whatnot. Maybe they were having a bad day. I don't really know, but you just can't talk about people like that. I think I answered your question.
You did. Okay. So my last two questions are: who is responsible for ending colorism, and do you think it'll ever end?
Mm. It's always going to be a hope that it ends, but in reality, people are going to judge you for numerous of reasons and based on how you look. Because, like in an interview, the first thing that they're going to do is judge you on how you present yourself. So I don't really feel like colorism is going to really fade, like just be gone forever. It will slowly disappear for sure, as long as everybody as a whole community will work on ourselves, like um, not really judging each other, uh, maybe accepting one another because we come from the same background, the same tree, and we should be uplifting each other and not disrespecting how we look and our backgrounds. Because that's not something we can change. We can judge somebody on their personality, sure, but not on how they look. Um, so that's something that we have to work on as a community and uh, as a nation. That's going to be some work because we need to work on the colorism, the racism, the discrimination, prejudice. That's going to be a lot of work that we need to do that as a whole. But slowly but surely, it will just fade, but disappear completely. Realistically, is not going to happen in real time. It will slowly go away. It's slowly going to fade out, and we can hope for the best that it's not going to come up again. But something will come up, either because we're as humans we judge. We judge on looks, personality. Oh, if you have this and I don't have that, we're going to judge as a whole. So as a community, we can hope that it will go away. If not, it will disappear as long as we keep working on it.
Okay, Brandon. Well, it's been a pleasure. I'm so glad that I finally got to talk to you after 6 months. It seems like. Okay, well, thank you so much, Brianna. I appreciate all the insight that we got from you. I feel like you gave us a new perspective on things, and I appreciate talking with you.
I appreciate it as well. Thank you for contacting me.
Thank you so much. Okay, and this is Sean and Brianna with All Things Black. Bye.